and get started since it's 6 o'clock. We'll go ahead and begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. Hold on just a second. Forgot to turn on my recorder here. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, well, welcome everyone to Parks and Rec. Thank you all for coming out. Well, I know number one on the agenda is newsletter spotlights, but I'd like to change that before we get started with those to welcome our new city manager, John Stallions. He just started this week, so and yeah, we're so blessed to have you. Okay, number one is the newsletter spotlights for October. So, Penny, you want to tell us who you chose for resident?
Robert Hedrick, George Hedrick.
Okay, all righty. Great. All right, and Miss Donna, you chose business club organization this month, so who did you pick?
I chose business,
Okay,
and that would be the Townsend IGA
Okay.
and Todd Lowe,
okay,
in particular, the manager.
okay. Perfect. That'll be a good one. Okay. All right, I'll look forward to those interviews for the newsletter, and y'all just get those to me as soon as you can for the last week of October. Would be great. Okay. Any questions about newsletter?
There's a form or something that we're supposed to follow, the types of questions you would like asked, and how long, and everything like this. Where do we find that information now?
I emailed it last week.
Okay.
I'll show it to you though.
Oh,
Okay, yeah. Okay, all right, moving on to number two, we've got discussion of senior citizen classes at City Hall. So I know that was, Donna, that was something you wanted on the agenda, so I'm gonna go ahead and let you take the lead on that and just kind of give us your thoughts or ideas.
I had a shift in thought about that since I did bring it up. I know that you had tried to do senior citizens classes here before and didn't get much response. But so I have been spending this last month or so sort of observing from a local point of view what would work best as far as engaging with the community on the level of the seniors. And when I was first, when I put in my expression of interest here, it was more that I ran on a sort of senior platform, helping to make Townsend much more a dynamic senior-centric area, utilizing all of our parks and City Hall and all of this. So I wanted to sort of circle back on that and see if we can come back and workshop some of these things. So instead of jumping in and saying senior fitness classes and not having any engagement until you find out what it is that people are really truly worried about, engaged about. And I know safety is also a big issue around here. And to have seniors feel like it's safe for them to move about because they have stability, because they have mobility, because they have flexibility. But we hear them first. And we make those places that, they have access to, safe, accessible, and friendly. So it's, I have a little document here that I would like to pass to you. And if we could come up with a date, and I would like to get one to our city manager as well,
Okay.
and workshop something like this. See, it entitles, different types of activities and mapping community spaces, having a community directory, wisdom circles, using this as a ballroom for dances, and just all kinds of wonderful activities to really get our local residents involved. Because from what I've sort of observed over the past month, with so much activity here from people coming in from the outside, a lot of us locals, particularly mobility challenged locals, are staying in. We're staying away
Okay.
from our town,
Okay.
So.
All right. Penny, any thoughts on that?
The only one question I would like to know, numbers. How many senior citizens, is there a statistic or a number, or how many people in Townsend or in the Townsend?
Well, I'm looking at 37882, like the
Okay.
area code around, or the
An
zip code here.
age breakdown. How many-
That's what I want to see too. I want to see if I can really dive into some of that demographic information. I also want to go in and I want to talk to some of the businesses and, find out who, in our local population is coming and what they're looking for. Let's find out about what, the small businesses, how the small businesses and the community can work together, to serve our locals. We bring in a lot of money with people coming in here, but I think from what I've seen, a lot of our locals are not very happy that they have to, kind of step aside and let people come and take over our city.
All right.
Sure.
Okay. So a workshop then is what
I
we
would love to have a workshop on this.
you might want to, something that has helped us in the past, Brett, is if we did like a survey, some sort of surveying of the locals. We've done that a couple of times.
Yeah, that and sort of boots on the ground with the local businesses, people who serve the businesses,
Okay.
Because, businesses and the people who live here are a collaborative partnership to serve the people who come and visit. And that's what I want to see more of, is more of a collaboration, a small community that really works together to engage each other and the community in helping to up-level our experience here. We came here because it's a peaceful side. I don't feel very peaceful right now. Except for right now in this room, I do. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you for that. Any more thoughts on this agenda item?
I think having a survey would be a good start to see.
Okay.
But being able to reach the seniors.
Okay.
That's, the past surveys that we have done have been online, right? Through there, you get good response, but not, the older you get, the
Boots
less.
to the ground census.
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
saying, the older you get, the
Oh,
less you're
yeah.
online.
I want to
you
get
do.
boots to the ground. I want to walk and talk through these communities. That's the way I see myself doing that.
Okay.
Street by street, basically.
Yeah.
Okay. So why don't we look at doing a workshop on this? I know October is crazy. Is there any time that doesn't work for you all this month, or would November be better?
Well, the rest of the month is, you said, is crazy. So November is only 3 weeks away.
Yeah.
So that's fine. We can look at the first week in November maybe.
Let's look at November 5th, or see if that works for everyone. At 5:30.
That works for me. Can I go take a copy?
Sure. Okay. go ahead and put that in our calendar to do a workshop on this.
Does the community CPAC have any surveys, any statistics that would help us?
Well, there was surveying done for the community plan, but I think they're still pulling data right now. I do know, and I'll get to this on the agenda, I think on number 4, for Parks and Rec, there was, feedback from the citizens as far as what they wanted, and what Donna was just talking about was one of those things. Okay. All right, any more input on this agenda item? Thank you, Donna.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Okay. All right, hearing nothing else, we'll go to number 3. Discussion of safety measures of the e-bikes on the bike trail. Ms. Penny was kind enough to get us some handouts here about Tennessee e-bike law. And I know we talked a little bit about this last month, Mark, because Mark is with the Riverwalk and Arboretum, and so he sees a lot of people on the trail. So, Penny, do you want to just kind of walk us through the information that you found?
First of all, I'd like to say that I love e-bikes. I have nothing against them, and I have one, and I go really fast, and I love it. So, but I know that because of that they're very dangerous. Before I had an e-bike, I was walking on the trail, and an e-bike zoomed by me. I fell off to the side of the trail, and he leaned back and he said, "Watch where you're going." And I'm like, but I found out that pedestrians have the right of way on the trail.
Yes.
So through the research, but, so anyway, there's a great pictograph that somebody put together, I did, on the Tennessee's e-bike law. And basically there are 3 classes of e-bikes. So the first one is basically an e-bike. The first 2 go under 20 miles an hour. And the first one is the class 1, is an electric e-bike equipped with a motor that provides assistance only when the rider is pedaling and ceases to provide assistance over 20 miles an hour. So the class 2 has a motor that you don't have to pedal, and it goes up to 20 miles an hour.
Okay.
The class 3, which is considered the most dangerous, goes up, it has to be pedal assisted, but up to 28 miles an hour. After 28 miles an hour, it becomes human powered.
Okay.
So, I know it seems a little confusing, but it's pretty basic.
Okay.
And I didn't see anything about bikes with a throttle, which I've heard that those just go, those are like mini bikes. So there is a difference, but I didn't find any information about that.
Okay.
An e-bike is a device upon which any person may ride that is equipped with 2 or 3 wheels, any of which is 20 inches or more in diameter, fully operable pedals for human propulsion, and an electric motor of less than, this is a big thing, less than 750 watts. So it can't have more than 750 watts. And that meets the requirement of the 3 classes of electric bikes.
Now, are there some towns that don't allow the class 3?
So in the state of Tennessee, they have rules about e-bikes, but
Yeah.
local authorities local government can change and make any rules they want about e-bikes. But, so these are the rules that are made by the state of Tennessee.
Okay.
E-bikes are street legal in Tennessee, and they're regulated like traditional bikes. So traditional bikes, when they're on the road, they're required to go just 2 side by side, not more than that. And they have to stay over to the right of the road. They're exempt from registration, licensing, and insurance requirements. However, the Class 3 e-bike riders must wear helmets, and all e-bikes must have a front and rear light. So all e-bikes are supposed to have front and rear lights, a reflector, and a way to warn others, and reliable brakes. So there's little ding, 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 so if somebody's coming up behind you, what I don't see is a way to really enforce any of this. As far as how many accidents have happened in Townsend, I just did a quick Google search.
Sure.
And just through my experience of going for calls as a firefighter, I would say an estimate one a month, which doesn't seem like a lot, but I don't know what we used to have. Somebody died last year, and I think that was a regular bicycle, but from what I've seen online, when accidents have happened, they're not saying whether it's an e-bike or a regular bike. And just last week, there was an 88-year-old on a three-wheeler e-bike, and she usually wears a helmet, but this time she didn't, and she fell off and got taken to UT.
Well, one of the things that came up last month when while Mark was talking about e-bike safety is signage.
Yeah.
And really, that's what we need, is signage that is clearly posted throughout the trail. Bicyclists stay to the right. And what we need is for these e-bike companies, and I talked with the new e-bike company.
Scotty's.
No, not Skybike, the one that's down near the firehouse.
Okay.
And they're a really nice couple. And he says that he discusses safety with them, and I discussed things that we discussed at this meeting. And he said that he would be willing to help us put together infographics
Okay.
that we can post in different areas about bike safety.
Okay.
I know signage has to be down around that hill near the park, near the river walk.
Yes.
I walk my dog and my daughter there all the time. And the bikes just come whizzing down there. And I swear that there were kids parked on their little bicycles and playing in the road the other day. And here comes a bike. And they look at you like you're doing something wrong. I like to know that pedestrians have the right of way on these trails.
Yeah.
So we actually have to start educating each other about respecting each other if it is a multi-use trail. It's like when I was country line dancing. We had rules of etiquette for sharing the dance floor. This dance floor needs also rules of etiquette.
Okay.
So I was looking at what other cities have done for their bike trails, considering e-bikes and bicycles, but mostly e-bikes. Park City, Utah did a complete pilot study and came up with what I kind of like the rules that they came up with. Now they have a dedicated website. But today the city allows e-bikes on all paved multi-use trails as well as on soft surface trails wider than 5 feet. And they have a 15-mile-per-hour speed limit for all users. And they've also made a map of the trails where the e-bikes are permitted, and it's available on their website.
Okay.
So it's kind of what you're talking about, a pictograph, but really there's only, e-bikes are permitted everywhere unless we decide as a government to restrict the city, to restrict certain areas. I know that this side of the trail seems more like a multi-use trail. The other side seems more like a sidewalk.
Yeah.
And the e-bikes are not allowed on sidewalks. Any type of e-bike.
I was thinking that too.
So it's a designate, you have to designate, is this whole thing a trail? Or is that a sidewalk and this side is a trail? But if the whole thing is a trail, then they're
Yeah.
allowed everywhere. But if we have a speed limit sign for e-bikes, I go really fast, so, but 15 miles an hour would be a good, would probably be a good safe speed. And that would, whether it had a throttle or not, at least it would keep them in that speed limit. But I came up with possible action items and just collecting data about the accidents and deaths on the Townsend trail system. Over the years, compare it, it'd be nice if we could compare it to e-bike use and its popularity. Are accidents happening more frequently? I don't know, but I do know that we're getting, the trail system is used a lot by regular cyclists, e-bikers, and hikers, and just trying to figure out a way that we can all use it.
We might be able to pull the data from East Tennessee Development or the consultant that we have for the community plan, because TDEC or East Tennessee Development, I'll have to look back at my email, said that we have a bike Tennessee route. They may already have data on the bike trails.
And then number 2, signage, yeah, speed limit.
Definitely.
I think that would really help. And I guess if we wanted to start giving out tickets, get the police involved, but just a sign, I can't imagine, I don't want it to be like all these rules in place, but just something to kind of slow people down and make them aware that pedestrians have the right of way.
Yeah. I think the signage is a big one.
Yes.
And
I
put
like
on-
the idea of having it on one side designated to pedestrians and the other side bicycles, more bicycles.
And that's gonna be really hard to
That's gonna be
regulate.
Right, yeah. But I only walk on one side of the road anyway.
Yeah, but you have to remember that it's not only trails. I live
Yeah.
on the backside of Riverview, and there's hundreds of bikes out there, hundreds. So it just the trail that they're driving on or using, excuse me, it's the backside, it's the left, non-use road, the less used roads, but you just have to be aware. I mean, sign is gonna be put everywhere, you know, I mean, and I don't know how you police that.
Well, I've seen like a speed sign, like 15 miles an hour, and underneath it's tracking how fast you're going, like they do with cars. But I don't know if that's what that cost. If that's something that's legitimate. And also contacting all the bike rental companies in Townsend to inform them of requirements, regulations, make sure that they're following.
And make sure they're training their people on appropriate use of these things too.
Yeah. Somewhere I read a study, Tennessee UT did a study on e-bikes, and they said there wasn't really more accidents with the e-bikes, they were just more severe. Because the bikes, people are not used to them because they're renting them, they don't own them. You know, they're what, $5,000 for a bike, I believe. So it's people that rent them, they're a heavier bike and they go faster. So the stopping distance is more, they're not used to the handling. So they said the accidents are not, at this point, whatever it was, the study was until 2021, I believe. And it said it wasn't creating more accidents, but the accidents were more severe. The trauma was more severe on people that were electric bikes, and so.
Jill, where did you read this
It was
from?
one of these medical things online, and it was
Okay.
through UT.
Can you send that to
I will try to
me?
find that. yes.
Okay, or to
I
us?
thought I had it over there.
Okay.
But I didn't.
Yeah, I'd like to read that.
Yeah.
Maybe once we come up with, I don't, like I said, I don't want it to be just full of all these rules, but once we come up with the basic guidelines for bikes in general and e-bikes on the trail, to make sure that they're posted in all the places that rent bikes and that
Yes.
they are popular areas where everybody parks.
Would it be appropriate to get some of the owners and staff of these bike rental companies in for a meeting and say, this is what we're trying to do here, what are your suggestions, and also survey them? It seems like surveys and, getting data, is very important for any process through the city. So if we can find out from the horse's mouth, okay, what's going on, this is what we'd like to do, how can we get this pulled off as, quickly and painlessly as possible and not affect your bottom line, and also keep the residents safe. I mean, that's what we're looking for more than anything else is, I'm an advocate for safety.
Does anybody
So-
know about the liability of the city, like if somebody gets hurt on the trail?
Bike trails.
As long as they're maintained, would have a liability on that. You could get into issues if you post a speed limit and you know that the speed limit is routinely being violated and you do nothing about it. That could cause some issues. And from what I've always been told, that across the street is considered a sidewalk. oh, here's the bike trail. They're not one continuous trail. However, to Penny's point, that's almost impossible to police. People from doing it, so I think that's why that's sort of been allowed. But if you look, the bike trail is separate from the sidewalk. Now, we connected it in tunnels, so you know, you're encouraging that, and that opens it up, but.
City manager, do you think we could maybe just look at researching, maybe on MTS's website, other cities or surrounding towns nearby that see what their regulations are, that have bike trails? We might be able to pull something for city council to look at, with some regulations, and maybe also talk to T-Dot about signage on the bike trail.
I think that's something we probably need to look at, what other doing. Penny decided to study from Park City as well, you know, another gateway community that kind of going through the same thing we are. Because Penny said, I like e-bikes. To your point on seniors, they help those of us who are not as mobile to get around. Now, that's a catch-22, right? So
My father's 89 years old, and he has one of the class 1 e-bikes.
And they're, you know, in the class ones are great exercise. You know,
Yeah.
and it's a great way for people to be able to get out and be active that probably could. And we're Alaska, we rented it, and I could not have gone where we went if I had not been on an e-bike.
Yeah.
But we have to be sure that they know how to operate it correctly. I've seen a couple of senior women get on these bicycles, and it was too much for them.
Well,
You know, so a little training before they, you know, go off on them is essential.
I think that's where your idea of working with the companies is a good idea to make sure that they are doing some sort of training. But, since we've been back, we've been looking at Wi-Fi, and they're as cheap as $1,500. You can get them that nice one for $6,000. But, you know, we've been thinking, okay, we're going to get us one, right? And I'll look at bikes, and I'm like, is that e-bike? You can't tell online. You really, you know, some of the battery's really obvious, but the motor is so small, and a lot of it's either on that rear hub or it's in the pedal gears. So you kind of got to look
Yeah,
and see
you don't
where that's at.
I mean, we can say we don't want class 3, or we can't have our officers out there looking at every bike, seeing like what people are riding. It's just not practical. But I think the biggest thing is the signage. Having regulations, some sort of signage with the infographics on them. You can't enforce common sense, but you know, you want people to be informed at least. What they do with that is up to them at that point. So I think what we can do, Chief, is maybe look at some other towns, see if they have an ordinance in place, and then also maybe get with T-Dot about signage. Yeah.
Anything to do with signage, yeah, I talked to Maximilian about that. Anything outside the curbing would be our responsibility.
Okay.
Because that's where the hotel motel tax will come into play, because it's tourism.
Okay.
So, that would be a good idea. We're out there, you know, all the time, so we see it daily.
Sure.
And now the leaves are falling, the walnuts are falling. It's very dangerous. We went today and cleaned all the bike trails best we could. We can't get them all off because of where the wind and rain is, but it's just a matter of time. I mean, there's no hill down at the lower tunnel. There's no sign saying hill where the lady had an accident.
Yeah.
And then we've had also people asked about putting a mirror right there so they could see somebody coming off. Just a matter of time for a collision there. So, I mean.
Well, I feel like the mirror we could go ahead and do. I don't see any reason why we can't get some mirrors, if you think that'll help.
Yeah, because we've had, I'm gonna say 8 to 10 people ask, because when they come through the tunnel, they cannot see
Yeah.
anybody that's coming off that hill. And even where you're at, I mean, there's kids
Yes.
there. I mean, we see it, and we get dirty looks a lot. I mean, seriously. But I mean, something needs to be done. It really does.
Okay.
before somebody gets hurt or killed. I mean, it's, the one's way too many, so I agree.
Okay. All right, let's put our heads together, see what we can do to expedite getting some signage on the bike trail for that, and then also look at those mirrors like you were talking about. And then I'll also see what kind of data I can pull from this Bike Tennessee route that they were telling me about, because that might be able to tell us like how many people are actually using the bike trail too. I know it's a lot, we just don't know how much.
Hear from each vendor maybe.
Yeah. And like you said, get with the ones that are renting the bikes, and make sure they're informed of what we want to make sure they're telling their consumer.
Any regulations and proper training?
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. All right, any other discussion on this agenda item? Okay, moving on to number 4. I just kind of wanted to, this is really just an update. So we are in what I think are the final stages of the community plan, which also has a Parks and Rec master plan, and it's within the community plan for Townsend. However, it can be used as a standalone plan for when we're applying for grants. It's also going to be a really good guiding tool for us with resources, action items. They're also putting together some worksheets, some tools that we can use for grants, like a checklist, basically. And then they're also going to give us like some forms to use for the community to fill out, kind of like a survey, but like it'll be for them to fill out and tell us like, hey, like we'd really be interested if Parks and Rec did this kind of program to give back to us. And then we'll also have a worksheet that they'll give us, and it'll kind of be like a, how did this event go? How did this program go? What can we do different? Were there any budget constraints? So they're going to give us some tools within the standalone plan. The plan is about, I think it's about 15 pages, 13 to 15 pages long, and I was just sent the draft yesterday. So I was going to forward that to you all to look over. We've been working on this for well over a year. We did focus groups last year. You remember that, Brad? We did focus groups with our consultants. East Tennessee Development pulled data. To me, it looks very good. I've had a lot of Zoom calls with Ida from SE Group, and just kind of walking her through like what the community's telling us. A lot of things senior citizen focused, intergenerational stuff like seniors and kids. That's in the plan. Yes. And then also expediting the Special People's Park, and then also turning the Memorial Park into more of a local community hub with naturescapes and natural play, and also having a relationship with the school for them to be able to use it for outdoor learning. So I'm going to forward that to you all to review. Like I said, we've been working on it over a year, and I think we're getting toward the end. And the city council will hopefully adopt it within the next few months. But then we'll be able to use that for grants was the biggest reason why we needed it, because TDEC will not let you apply for any of their grants unless you have a plan that's 5 years or less. Like it has to be pretty updated. So that was another big reason why this plan was so important how we implement. Any questions? Okay. All right, moving on to number 5, the Christmas parade. So the Christmas parade, I think I talked about this a little bit last month already. It's December the 7th. It's always the first Sunday in December. I made a flyer because we went with the railroad, the railroad theme. So I think it's all aboard the Townsend Christmas Parade Express or the Christmas Express. Put a QR code on it. I updated the manual and application. Anybody can come to City Hall and pick up an application. think I put the deadline for December the 3rd, so that's far enough away. It gives people plenty of time to apply for the parade and get that in. It's just a $15 entry fee. We don't keep any of that money. It goes to the float prize winners, and then the rest of it goes to the school. So the city doesn't keep any of that. Last year, we were able to give the school, after we did the float prize winners, we were able to give them, I think, around $1,700. So that definitely helped out the school. They really appreciate that every year. Most of the time, we're there on parade day. We're helping Chief, the fire department, Penny, you're already there with the fire department anyway, helping out, checking people in, just kind of making sure people go where they need to go, directing them and stuff. But we usually have a meeting right before the parade to talk about what our jobs are going to be. So I'll wait till Chief's ready for that. I know he's got a lot on his plate right now. So
You're calling him chief, huh?
yeah, he is the chief. Yes, he's our fire chief.
Oh, really? I was wondering why she was calling me chief. I thought
He's our city he's our city manager now, but
Okay.
he's also our fire chief.
Okay, then
Yes.
I feel free to call you chief too. Thank you.
Okay. Now for the Christmas parade, I have asked Little River Railroad and Lumber Company to be our grand marshal for the parade. They're so excited about it.
Perfect.
They're already making plans for their float for the parade. It was an easy decision to me because the rich heritage that they have and the theme, it just goes together. So I talked to Dana Lund at the museum. Her and I sat down, and I'll just go ahead and tie in number 6 with number 5, the Christmas community gathering, because we had already talked about doing a few different things the week of the parade. So obviously they're grand marshal for the parade, but the Saturday before, she was going to do a little event down at the Railroad Museum. I think they did it last year. I think they had maybe some storytelling and some music and some hot chocolate. I think they may have even did like an outdoor movie deal. So she's going to do that for the museum, and I told her to let us know if there's anything we can help her with on that event. But then the following Friday after the parade, which I think is December the 12th, we will be doing the Christmas community gathering. We've done that how many years now, Brett? Is this our third year doing it?
Officially.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So what we do is, that Friday, we have like a potluck in here, in this room. So we've done, the last few years, we've done soups, chili, everybody brings a crock pot of soup or a chili of some kind, and then we have a dessert table. I usually make punch, but the Townsend Community Choir will be here to do some songs for us, like they were last year. I haven't heard from the elementary school yet.
Usually at the school.
They have a different music teacher this year, so I actually don't know who it is, so I was going to reach out and see. Normally, Mr. Gann reaches out to me and asks if they can come back, but I need to see if they're interested in doing it. And then one of the things me and Dana had discussed while we were talking about the parade and Christmas and everything was, see, last year we had Appalachian Bear Rescue was our grand marshal, and then we had Joanne Funk come in and kind of tell people during the Christmas gathering more about ABR and what they do, because a lot of people, they hear of Appalachian Bear Rescue, but they didn't know. So I wanted Dana to come in during the gathering and tell people about the Little River Railroad and Lumber Company and the museum and stuff, because we get a lot of people that move in and they don't know the stories. Dana's got a lot of stories. She's full of stories, full of history. So I think her and maybe a couple more people from the museum are going to be here that evening to tell us some stories. She's got some lined up. And then we'll have the choir singing, and then we also decorate this tree outside. It's kind of dangerous. So I usually have Jason and Jerry and Ken, and Tim to help us out with the tree because, it takes quite a few of us to decorate it.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm excited for the gathering. Everybody loves it.
What time is that?
We've been doing the gathering, I think, from 5:30 to 8 the last few years, and that's December the 12th. And I will make a flyer for that. At next month's meeting, normally our November meeting, we talk about what we're gonna bring. So until our November meeting, be thinking about like what kind of soup or chili or whatever you wanna bring, because we line these walls up with, I think we had about 15 crock pots in here. And then we had a dessert table, and then we have like a table for toppings, like chips and cheese and crackers.
So you
and-
did like bread,
Yeah,
cornbread and stuff like that.
yeah,
People bring that as well.
yes, yes. And then that table over there is like for drinks and coffee, and normally people, there's a coffee shop that will donate the coffee every year for the gathering, but it's just a good time of fellowship and just being together and learning about ADR, and now we're going to learn about the Little Rebel Railroad, and it just all kind of ties in together for Christmas. So,
It's a good time.
any questions about that? Okay.
I won't be able to be here.
For the
12, I'll make some food. I'll make
Okay.
some chili or
No, that's
something.
fine, that's fine. Listen, if you want to make some brownies or some cookies or some cornbread, that's totally fine. We're happy with anything. Like I said, it's not just us that bring stuff. Like, there's people in the community that want to bring and help with that, so
Very good.
very good. Yes, and it's all different. And that's why we try to get an idea in November what people are going to bring, so we don't bring like 3 or 4 of the same thing. Yeah. Okay, any questions? About Christmas?
Christmas is going to be a really fun time.
It's fun, yeah, it's a fun time, especially since we started doing the gathering. Because it's just a chance for the community to literally come together. That's why I called it community gathering. You just block out everything negative and come together and just be a community and enjoy Christmas, remember the reason for Christmas, and just fellowship and have a good time and eat and be merry. So, okay. Now we're down to public input. Do we have any public input tonight?
Let me tell you what's wrong with Riverwalk.
Sure, Mark.
Arboretum.
Yeah, will you come up to the microphone, please,
Oh, Lord.
so everybody can hear
Oh, really?
you? Yeah.
Everybody.
I never had that problem before. So you'll notice on the sidewalk side over, the top side, we call it, where the big rock wall face is, we're putting another pollinator garden in.
Oh, okay.
With a bench. So we're gonna make it sort of like a place to take pictures, because that rock, it's a natural formation, so when they were building the road and they took it down, all the rock, they left that hillside, and the cave's right underneath that. But there's some really cool rock formations in there, but we're gonna put a bench in there, and, like I said, another native pollinator garden. So that's our 3rd one this year.
Wow.
So, yeah, we put a lot of stuff in.
Okay.
And, that's about it. We've been having a ton of people, that's all I'll tell you. There's a lot of people coming in from all over the place. I mean, you know, Nashville,
Yeah.
we have people specifically coming down there. So it's, the word's out. And, but, yeah, I know last weekend, we were down working on Friday, and there was probably 60, 70 people came through.
Wow.
And it was like that all weekend, so it's really, it's taken off.
Well, you all have made it beautiful down there.
Well, thanks.
Is the train finished?
We're gonna, once it cools down a little more, we're gonna put a coat of finish on it, and I think we're gonna make a red caboose, so, it's stained red caboose, so it's not gonna be like, in your face.
Okay.
Yeah, so,
That's
they're down there ringing it for hours. I mean, it's just like crazy.
I
Yeah,
have
all kind of good little things.
kids.
Yeah.
We appreciate all your hard work down there.
Well, thanks, we
Making
know
it
that,
a
we know
nice
that.
place.
And this guy over here, he took down another dead tree for us this week. That was, well, it could have fell on the path, so.
Okay,
Yeah, they took that down this week and looks so much better.
We
So
have
that's the
that.
last one, I think, that's really any kind of problem. So we've gotten actually, I think, quite a few trees off the trail this year. I think about 4 or 5, so. And they were over the sidewalks and stuff like that, so they were worth getting down.
we have an excellent maintenance crew.
Yes, believe me.
I do have a question that, I go there a couple times a week with my grandson, and I always wonder where to park.
At the church, the campground church.
Campground.
Yeah. And it's one of those things where you say, oh, I gotta walk over there. Well, it's, number one, it's a trail, and you have to walk
Yes,
over there.
exactly.
But the other good thing
Closest
is,
parking.
it helps keep, I wanna say the riffraff, but it helps keep people out of there that really shouldn't be there because they want to just cause problems. We actually had some kids come through and do some damage this week, or last week, yeah. They pulled down some little trees and stuff like that. Why, I don't know, but that's, you know.
Can you put like a trail camera?
You have cameras?
We don't. We're thinking about putting a sign up though that says, this is under, it doesn't
Yeah,
matter. I mean,
yeah.
that's just enough maybe to get them, but yeah, it's a campground church and I actually have it on Google Maps now.
Is that
We
across the
actually,
street? Is that, I'm not sure what campground church is.
oh, it's the corner of Tuckaleechee.
Oh, Tuckaleechee.
Yeah, and actually, Jason and I talked about that. When we start going signs, we need signs pointing to go down the trail to the Riverwalk. We've had people cross the road.
Yes.
It scares the hell out of me because,
Okay.
especially older people and kids. I mean, it's kind of scary, actually. The thing we find is parents don't realize all the traffic coming, and even if they're going to the tunnel, they're letting their kids run. Well, that kid could run right across the street. So it may be worth at some point asking TDOT to put a guardrail up there just to keep, make a boundary so that kids won't run across the road. I mean, there's a lot of people walking that way, and it is kind of scary. Parents don't realize.
That's a crazy
Yeah,
curve.
it is, and that curve, the whole deal there is really a rough area, unfortunately, but that's where we're at. But the campground church people have been great. I mean, they really, they said anything we need to do, they're all for it, so.
Great.
Yeah. So thank you.
Thank you, Mark, so much.
I know, I often think that, I said, in a town this big or city this big, there's not a crosswalk in this town at all.
Yeah.
Across the main road, and when there's festivals, people are parking all over and crossing the road. I see it all the time, people want to come from the hotels to cross the street to the restaurants. We do not have a crosswalk anywhere in this town, and that would be a whole other can of worms, I'm sure, with TDOT, with the state, with local, or what. There's no place where people go. The tunnels are at each end of the town, so nobody's gonna walk that far across the road to go get barbecue. Does that make sense?
Right.
So I don't know if that's something we should address or think about. I mean,
It's in the Parks and Rec
perfect.
master plan. One of the key action items that they're recommended to the city is to make it more, to increase the walkability for the town, and the accessibility. So those are 2 points that I did read in that
Awesome.
Parks and Rec plan, that they recommended that we definitely take action on.
It's something that
Yeah.
we should consider, yeah.
I wonder if it would be a major issue to start looking at maybe taking the speed limit down in the city limits to 40.
I think it used to be 40.
Yeah, and now it seems to be 55 according to everybody.
35? It used to be 55.
Well,
It
that's
used to
not
be
our
35.
jurisdiction.
Yeah,
That's why I
I
heard
know.
it down to 35. That'll also help the people see the businesses. They slow down.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
mhm.
That's a whole other can. of worms.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I think it becomes a golf cart community at a certain speed. So 30 or 35.
It'll also cut down on noise pollution. them in the hot house.
That was
Don't
too
even
late.
say
I know.
Don't-
We laughed. I know. I saw all the videos.
Give me
Well,
12.
wasn't
Just do 2 lane out here.
Right.
That's what it was for.
Oh.
That's what it was for.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if you, you know, put 35 over 48.
Sure.
That's my
But then I've also heard some people say, well, the speed limit needs to be 50 because that gets them out of town quicker. I've also heard
I'd
that
rather them
opinion.
slow down and see the businesses.
So,
You know, like the smaller ones that not on the main street.
That's correct, yeah.
okay. Well, that sounds like a city council deal. not
I
ours.
think so.
Okay. All right, any more public input?
Kelsey,
Yes, ma'am.
about the tunnels,
Yeah.
I volunteered at Tremont's booth at the Old Timers Fest, and you're not gonna believe how many local people, and some of the people that have booths, don't even know we have tunnels. I said, well, you could go to IGA, just go into the tunnel, because they wanted to get, he
Yeah.
said, what tunnel? And then I was at the coffee shop by Ace, and there's some bikers in there, some, you know, my age. And they said, oh, we come to Townsend all the time, and it's so nice, but crossing the street is so dangerous. And I said, there's tunnels here. And I told them where they were. They said they've been coming for 5 years, they never saw tunnels. So I was like,
Signage for tunnels.
yeah. So you guys were talking about the tunnels
Yeah.
before, and so it was funny to have local people and some people that have been here a long time not know about it.
That's, you make a good point. There's people that have lived here a long time also that didn't know we had the memorial park on Mountain Avenue.
Oh, I
Had no idea that it was back here. You were one of, I was one, I mean, I hadn't lived here a long time when I found out about it, just a few years, but, I mean, they had no idea it was there. So it was just kind of one of those hidden gems, just for the residents to know about. If you know, you know. Cut that out. Thank you, Debbie.
I gotta tell you a funny story. So my daughter, she lives here, she has a 2-year-old, she's in the stroller, and we're just like, well, she wanted to go to the park. And we just said, we'll just go down the sidewalk, the trail until you see the tunnel and go through the tunnel. She texts us, she goes, that tunnel is so small, how are we gonna get through it? She thought it was one of those concrete things.
I know which one it is,
Yeah, you're understanding,
yeah. Did they tell you, well, you gotta squeeze really little?
Yeah.
It just-
I know what you're talking about.
That's funny.
That's funny.
All right, well, if there's no more public input, I'll go ahead and close that. And if there's any other business?
I'm gonna ask again, the swing bridge. I've been asked,
I
concerned,
I don't have an update.
online, they're having a field day with it, they're complaining, I mean, you know, online, but I had people come up to me
I
and
got
say,
that.
City manager.
That is one of the things the mayor talked to me about, in June with the county. We identified the landowners on our side, we just have to get an MOU with them, so they can get easement for the county. So that's what we're at.
that's where you're working with. Okay, perfect. Because it's been, how long?
How long? Too long. We get asked every day about it.
Sure.
So I mean, yeah, it's, you get people coming from out of state just to come and walk on that.
Absolutely.
So, I'm glad you mentioned that, because I didn't have anything.
Yeah.
Well, and now it's on tape, and if you know, if anybody asks you,
Ask you.
there is an update.
Watch the video.
Thank you, city manager.
Thank you, sir.
All right, if there's no other business, do I have a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion.
Okay, do I have a second?
A second that motion.
Okay,
Okay.
all those in favor of adjourning, say aye. Aye. Thank you all very much.